So this is really how the truck should have been loaded. So as you can see here, we're a decked semi. We have 2 stories. So the top, if it's coming from Ontario, California to Phoenix, and Texas is the last stop, what we want to do is have the Texas up on the top. Now the tricky thing with decking is we don't want to put heavy machines up there. So we're fine putting copiers up there that go up to about 300, 350 pounds. You don't want to put anything up there that's going to be 375, 400, 500 pound machines. Those can stay on the lower level, right? So we have Texas up on the top, except for the heavy stuff. Then you've got Colorado and New Mexico down below, and that's because the next stop is Albuquerque, right? You don't want to put New Mexico, Colorado up top, Texas on the bottom, and then make them have to unload it there. And then on the tail, coming to Phoenix, should have been the Arizona equipment. Now the reason for that means when the truck pulls up in Arizona, everybody can easily pull that equipment off the tail. And then today what we would be doing is we pull the Arizona equipment off, place it in the warehouse, and then we would load any Texas and Colorado back onto the truck. Now what we would do in this case is pull off the Colorado, New Mexico if we had Texas, and if there was room up in the decking, we put in the decking, or depending on the floor, and then we place the Texas up at the front. Okay, we're in the midst of loading. Some things to keep in mind. Notice how as I unloaded, I have the blankets right there folded nicely. They're not going to get forgotten. They're not going to get left. Everything that comes out of the truck goes back in the truck. I have them folded there, so as I roll the machine from the warehouse in, boom, I take the blanket. Utilize your plates. Don't go over the hinges. It's a good way to snap casters or pull down or bend stabilizers, and then you can't get them out. So you roll everything over. It comes really in nice and easily. Just rolled it in. I tossed the blanket over. You keep the blanket folded in half and tossed over. This provides double blanket protection. You foam pad the sides as you need to. And then as you pass through, you come to the manifest, and that's where you log the equipment as you're putting it on. So it makes sure everything goes through. I have staged everything by BOL first to make sure I had complete orders and everything too. And obviously the bottom has been pulled out. It was a mix. Phoenix was at the front. It should have been at the tail. It was just whoever loaded it in California just loaded everything however they felt. So it basically, they saved 10 minutes, not organizing it, and it ended up requiring that I have to unload the entire semi and then reload it. The difficult part you'll run into frequently is going to be stabilizers come down during shipment. So we have different ways to tip the equipment back. So as you can see, this stabilizer has come down. And if you're not paying attention, there's one down there too, these can just continue to get down, get wedged into the floor of the truck, gouge it up, but they can also gouge up customer locations too. So you're always going to want to be aware. And I'm not against even removing them at times, especially on lease returns. They're just going back to the depots, they just come right out, and then just throw them out. Don't throw them on the ground or throw them on the dock, because these will get picked up by a tire and go right in and cause flats. In this case here, we've got another wide format which will easily fit underneath the decking, except for this box. So I've had this happen before, and I mean, this is going to Texas, but it's also, you got to look at where it's going to, right? So it's going to Cleveland, Tennessee. You read what's on it, says Canon screen and cable. So it's going to be an important box. Now our decking's a little higher than Moe's. So even if I was to move this box, which is what I'm going to do, down a little bit lower, so it'll fit under ours, it may not fit under Moe's. And I had an example with BST years and years ago where a customer put in a bunch of toner, some phones and stuff right like this on top of a wide format. BST took the box off to fit it underneath their decking, and the box was never identified. It ended up getting lost, and it was a $3,000 claim that Offsite had to pay, and BST just made us eat it. So knowing that even if you can make this box fit under our decking, but it's continuing on to mow, you want to make sure that we identify this box just to play it safe, which I'll show you in just a second. As you can see, the box has been moved down lower. There's a fresh layer of stretch wrap in there. We've also tagged the box. I didn't have to put a piece count. I just put identifying feet information. I put the BOL number right there, Mo's the shipper, the name of the customer shipping to, the city, and the state. I don't need to get into piece counts on it. I did move the paperwork up to a more visible location along with their paperwork, the identifying tag. So we have the paperwork, everything is put together. Think about this. The way it was up on top. Now, frequently people would just take the box off and then put the box to the side. The box would have nothing identified on it, right? So the wide format will go in, the box will be over there, this will get to Texas, somebody else will unload it, the box may or may not come off, probably get kicked off into the corner at Mo. This gets delivered to the customer, and then they're going to come back to us later and say, hey, there was this box with screen and cords on it. Do you guys know where it is? The customer doesn't have it. And we're going to end up having it's going to go to admin, we're going to go in and start searching, and then it's going to go down to, did it get loaded on the truck? We'll talk to the driver. Did you pick it up? Do you remember, was there a box on it? And at the end of the day, it could turn into a big mess where we have to buy a new screen. It could be $2,000, but you have to think about the time spent. And that's kind of what our theme these days is, I spent an extra 5 minutes doing this. And this extra 5 minutes more than likely is going to save us from a claim to buy a new screen later. And it's also going to save, probably 6 to 7 hours of manpower trying to track down and deal with the missing box area, because Mo's going to search their warehouse. We'll search ours. Maybe they'll find it. Maybe they won't. Maybe it's Mo that takes this box off. But what we've done is we've just protected everybody by putting a simple sticker on it to help identify it. So when someone looks at it and goes, what does this belong to? They can see what it belongs to, because this is going to be likely taken off by Mo. And we could get blamed. This helps us because we do have it. Also, when you see something like this, don't be afraid to take a picture, identify it, note that, hey, we did ship this, so then it does, carry over to Mo and, have some extra protections in the event they take it down because their decking's lower than ours. So remember we were talking about those orange blankets. So as you can see here, we're under the decking. We've got, that's still a Texas machine there, but everything back behind that load bar is going to Texas. So by draping this over the load bar, pinning the stuff up against it, when guys are unloading and they come up to this, they're going to know, okay, I don't need to unload the rest of the truck. This is all Texas behind this thing. So I'm going to deck more Texas, but this is all the big stuff that wouldn't fit in the decking. Now I'm going to put in Colorado and New Mexico all the way to the rest of the floor, and then I'm going to deck. But that's how that works.